Not available in all states.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. The Bears host the Rams this Sunday afternoon. Chicago signed tight end Steven Carlson from the practice squad. They also hosted several players for tryouts. The Cubs pounded the Phillies 10-4. Philadelphia clinched the NL East title the day prior. Cody Bellinger drove in 4 runs for Chicago. Philadelphia is seeking to secure home field advantage in the National League playoffs. The Cubs have already been eliminated.
Benintendi with a base hit to left. Sosa will score.
The action courtesy White Sox Radio. 3-2 the win over the Angels. The modern-day record for most losses in a season. We'll have to wait at least another day. The Sox are 37-120. They tied the 1962 Mets for the most losses in one season since 1900. If they can win their last 5 straight, they'll avoid setting the record.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive.
I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
Theriault Booth, a leading local law firm, is located on the beautiful Fox River in downtown St. Charles. Here's Ryan Theriault.
For better or worse, there are just times people need a lawyer. Whether you are involved in a work injury, in an automobile crash, selling a home, or even planning for your estate after your passing, we're here. We're local. We're part of the community.
For more information, visit them on the web at tbfirm.com or give them a call at 630-526-4242. It's the time of the year where storms and inclement weather can pop up unexpectedly. If you have a generator powered by a small engine, keep it running like a top. Don't do the tune-up yourself. Let Ames Small Engine Repair at 674 Laurel Street in Elgin handle your generator. Ames can do oil changes, spark plugs, and make all the necessary adjustments. From simple tune-ups to major repairs, Ames Small Engine can do it all. Don't forget, it's not too early to think about a lawnmower tune-up. Call 847-742-8750.
Welcome to WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. My name is Dennis Sonar Green, and you are listening to A Political Talk Show. A Political Talk Show is part of the Fox Valley Afternoons here on WRMN. We just got done with Talk Time with Tammy. If you missed out, you definitely missed out. Great show, starts at 2, goes all the way to 4. Trending topics, entertainment news, and just fun all around. That's the place to be at 2 o'clock. Maybe you're starting your drive home. Maybe you're starting to wrap up at work and you need an excuse to just kind of mess around and waste some time. Talk Time with Tammy is a fantastic show to do that. Don't forget to call in with your Ask Tammy type of questions on the text line, 505-926-1410. 505-926-1410 is open 24 hours a day. If you want to send us a text, maybe there's something that's there for Tradio. Maybe you've got a question that Tammy can help you out with it. Maybe there's a special event that's going on in the area that you would like to promote. That is our info line that you can give WRMN that info 24 hours a day. And if somebody is sitting here on the microphone, they will make sure that they get that message out. That information line is brought to you by Image 360. Image 360 to make signs, make cards, make decals for your office or for your vehicles. All the different things that if you think you can print it or print on it, Image 360 is the way to go. Image360.com/South-Elgin is the way to go, because that is the Image 360 franchise that we use. It's over there on Sundown Road as you leave from the station here and head over to St. Charles. Again, you are listening to A Political Talk Show. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. We start A Political Talk Show every day at 4, and I am joined most every single day, unless I'm not here and he takes it over. That, of course, is the amazing executive producer extraordinaire, Ben Demonium Boquest. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Absolutely, man. Feeling extraordinarily Thursday and blessed to be here.
That's it. It is a great day for the news. It is a great day to be a neutral political show.
Apolitical.
That's what I like about what we do over here. Is this is the show that I would like to be out in the world. There's not too many of them out there. When you talk about politics, they turn around, well, what kind of politics, right? They always go, well, what kind? How are you doing? Like what color politics? Like, no, we invite everybody on the political spectrum. If you are a citizen, non-citizen, a person that just wants to know where the political landscape stands, we'll make sure that you get the information that you need in as unbiased as possible. I don't want to lie to you and say that nobody's biased, because it's impossible to be unbiased. But we can strive to be neutral, and we can strive to invite every single political person on the spectrum in any kind of way. If you are red, blue, green, yellow, if you like politics, this is the show for you. Here on Thursdays, we like to do legislation on Thursdays. Yesterday was Word Wednesday. Tuesday's Candidate Tuesday. And, of course, Monday is our Monetary Monday. And we're going to kind of blend Monetary Monday and Legislation Thursday today. And Ben has helped me with this, put together the economic plans that have been proposed by both of the major candidates. Now, I don't want to say all candidates, because I didn't really look into Dr. Stein's political or economic side of everything. I will tell you that she wants to, quote, dismantle the American empire, unquote, I'll at least put it out there like that. Oh, yeah, that's what she flat out said. If you listen to Democracy Now!, she was on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was yesterday. Yep. It was the Green Party president and vice president that were on yesterday. So that's when she said it. That's what the Green Party stands for, is dismantling the American empire.
Yeah. Well, apparently Macklemore is on record as saying the F word and then America.
Really?
I saw an entertainment article and then he said that he was apologizing for saying that.
He's going on this pro-Palestinian kick where he put out a couple songs.
Yeah,
He's been donating over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see with these different things that are happening, I could see where he would be pretty upset. And
yeah, I know a lot of people. I mean, and we talked about free speech before.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. First Amendment all day. The reason that is first, because it is the most important out there. That was the first one when they built the Bill of Rights. They were like, hey, we got to make sure people can say stuff, right? I mean, if we're going to get thrown in jail every time that somebody says something or does something, and now we get murdered or thrown in jail or beaten or whatever, that's not free speech in any kind of way. And I'm looking at you, country who considers to kill and beat and arrest journalists. Don't want to get too excited about that yet. We'll leave some of that for the headlines as we move through. But there is a certain country that has killed or incarcerated more journalists with the wars that are going on now than every single war combined.
Yeah, the numbers really are astronomical in the wrong categories. And, maybe we should do a special about what's going on. There's the whole UN summit that's happening right now.
Exactly. So I see where Macklemore would have those feelings, but at the end of the day, I don't need to do that. America's amazing. It's not the best. But American exceptionalism is absolutely true. And being exceptional does not mean that you are the best, right? Yeah. There's plenty of people listening right now that were the gifted child, right?
Sure.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you are valedictorian.
Right. Especially with the pressures that come with our society. Those kids that get pointed out are usually quote unquote underperformers because they get into whatever program.
The special ones.
Yeah. We're all special. All right.
That's it. Everybody's special.
My usual argument when I hear somebody disparage anything America or American is that it's honestly, they're right. That's what makes America so great, is that they have the opportunity to do that. Do I agree all the time? No. It's just one of those things. That's the freedoms we have.
Exactly. And I invite you to say dumb things. I want you to say dumb and outlandish things, because then I know that you are a person who says dumb and outlandish things.
Yeah, I'm kind of over it. Like, unless you're me on Twitter. Like,
you put that Twitter hat on and you're like, let's go.
Yeah, no, honestly, unless you are just in the right position to be goofy, like, I just don't, I hate wrong context goofiness, I guess.
I definitely get that.
Like, people just ham it up. I get it that everybody's all super connected and they're, social media influencers in their own regard, but amongst their social circle at least. So it's just kind of how our society works these days. People, we're all trying to be the class clown. Trump effect too.
That's very true. At the bottom of the hour, we will have Rich McHugh, national correspondent at News Nation, is covering the unfolding corruption investigation into New York City Mayor Eric Adams. It's going to be a great conversation as well. First, News Nation reoccurring correspondent as well. So,
all right.
Congratulations to you, Rich, on that. I don't have a plaque or anything put together.
They'll have to update the Wikipedia.
Exactly. Apolitical talk show correspondent as it goes. Yeah. What we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to break down the economic plans of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. There's a lot of what we talked about yesterday and even then on Tuesday, where we were complaining that we can't get a straight answer from anybody.
Well, what is the question that Trump answered as he has concepts of a plan? Wasn't that the economic?
Healthcare.
Oh, that was healthcare.
Yeah, it was the healthcare plan. Okay. Well, They have talked about repealing Obamacare. And when you say you want to repeal Obamacare, the first question is, what are you going to replace it with? Well, we're going to replace it with something better and cheaper. Okay, congratulations. That's what I would want too, is better, cheaper, faster, right? That's what everybody wants for almost everything. I want better, cheaper, faster food. I want better, cheaper, faster cars. Like, it just... Yes, that's what we want. So when you ask a question or say that you have a plan or have something to go on, nobody in politics likes to say, I don't have a plan. I don't have a plan for that. I don't know that. Because then you turn around and you're like, well, that's a very important thing. How do you not have a plan for that? Instead of just saying we're working on something, et cetera, et cetera.
It's the things that Trump gets away with, I feel like, just because of all the extra.
It's
like,
true.
There's so much output that, like, you know, it's just easier for him to move on to the next crazy thing that I say.
I'll tell you, if Harris said, I've got concepts of a plan,
right?
A special person named Brian Kilmeade would not let it go.
I want to go back to the standard being the spelling of potatoes. Do it right, or you're not.
Yeah, or you can't be. Like, that's crazy. That we used to live in a world where if you didn't know how to spell potato, you had to like drop out because everybody just ridiculed you so much. So I guess what you had to do is like, look, I can't spell potato, I can't spell onomatopoeia, I can't spell anti-disestablishmentarianism, I can't spell all kinds of things. So sue me for it. Like, that's the concept of say something outlandish but own it.
Yeah.
Right? If you say something outlandish and then you immediately backpedal and go, oh, well, I get this and that, now it's a controversy. Speaking of controversies, Alan Lichtman is going crazy on people. Oh. Did you see him in it's Robbie on The Hills Rising?
Okay.
Oh, my gosh. That guy, all he said was you had predicted that based off of your things that Biden was going to win. And he said, oh, no, that's not what I said. I didn't say anything like that. I said that it's his to lose. And if these certain things don't met, then he'll probably win. And it's like, guy, I get that you want to keep your streak, and I get that that's your livelihood, is that you can say that you won so many of them or whatever.
Yeah.
But dude, take the L.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah, at this point.
Like, you said Biden had to stay in. You said the Democrats would lose if that came over. So Alan Lichtman, I didn't like him to begin with the guy. I think he's pretentious in his whole 13 keys to win or 12 keys to win the thing. And it's like, bro, the Cenk Uygur like turned around and said, look, if you're the incumbent that wins the popular vote, you win. Like you said, that's all I need to know to pick the whoever. So it's one of those things that's out there that there are a lot of political pundits that are afraid to tell you anything because they don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be wrong, then stop saying things.
Yeah, it goes to show how big of a shocker that was to, I guess, some of the maybe longer in the tooth people in the media.
I did not think he was going to drop out. I wanted him to.
Yeah, it was tough to see,
but I did not think he was going to do it. And then all of a sudden it did. I was just as gobsmacked as everybody else when it happened. So it's one of those things that are just out there. So throughout this hour, throughout the next hour, we're going to talk about the economic plans of the two candidates that are sitting there now. And maybe this will be something that decides what you want to do. So let's start with Trump's economic plan first, because he's already put one together, and he's kind of expanding on the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which we are currently under now. If you want to talk about the deficit, you want to talk about the debt, you want to talk about the hardships, you want to talk about whatever, we are currently under the 2017 tax law. And this is why we brought it up for legislation. There's a lot of people saying, well, if you want to fix the economy, Harris, then why don't you just do it? she's vice president, and the presidential executive cabinet are not kings. Executive orders should be used sparingly. I can't just turn around and executive order my way into a different tax economy, man. So anybody who says things like that either does not understand how governments work, especially our government, or it is bad faith. So if you hear anybody that says that, well, you should just fix it now then. Executive branch does not make legislation. As much as you want a king, as much as you want fascism, because that's what that is, if the executive branch can just do whatever the heck that they want to, that's borderline fascism. And we've talked about that word before in one of our Word Wednesdays. So that's the thing. And so if somebody is saying that, they do not understand how our government works, which is scary. that people running for office don't understand how our government works, or it is a bad faith argument. Flat out.
Yeah.
Even Donald Trump, if he was to win tomorrow, cannot implement the new tax orders without Congress. Congress makes legislation. 3 branches, bare minimum to know to even step into the political arena conversation, man. If you don't understand what the 3 branches of government do, why are you even talking about politics?
Freaking 8-year-olds, man.
Right?
Pull a Lebowski page out there.
It's crazy. So let's just get into these economic plans. Again, these are just plans by the executive branch or person that wants to be part of the executive branch. All of these instances, all of these ideas, all of these things have to be legislated. They have to go through Congress. They do. They have to. So again, if anybody is saying otherwise, they're either a fascist because that's what they want is the executive branch to just do whatever the heck they want to, or they don't understand how government works, or it is a bad faith argument to other people who do not understand how the government works.
Yep.
Just going to lay that out there before we even get started with these economic plans, because they have to be put together by Congress.
It's such an easy, shut your brain off kind of argument, Like, if it's so simple, like if they could change it, why aren't they changing it now?
Exactly.
Oh,
if they could change it.
Yeah, I don't have to think about it anymore then.
They can't change it. Yeah. That's the issue.
But so why? And then you have to retain the information. It's
oh my gosh.
Harder than it looks.
And even then, you want to talk about concepts of a plan. That still has to be legislated. That's why we vote for representatives. That's why we vote for the Senate. That's why we put people in power instead of the direct democracy that Benjamin Franklin feared. So, with that borderline down, let's go ahead and jump into the economic plan. So, Trump's economic plan is what he wants to put together. There are a couple key things, but the plan largely revolves around continuing his earlier policies, particularly extending the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Hey, that act right there, yeah, legislated by Congress. Thank you very much. Trump proposes to permanently extend the individual and business tax cuts from the TCJA, including lower tax rates for individuals and corporations, and he plans to reduce the corporate tax rate further from 21% to 15% and eliminate all taxes on Social Security benefits for retirees. Trump's focus is on reducing taxes to stimulate investment and economic growth. It would do that. He also proposes a 10% universal tariff. Now, this is where it was at 10%. We've heard upwards of 20, 30%. whatever. Now, obviously, that's hyperbole of just going, I'm going to tax the crap out of you type of rhetoric, but I think they've landed somewhere in 10% because, again, it's not just one person deciding these numbers, and it shouldn't be. The tariff on imports aiming to bolster U.S. manufacturing by discouraging imports and raising government revenue. However, this tariff policy is expected to increase the cost for consumers, potentially driving inflation and putting pressure on the global supply chain. While Trump promises trillions of dollars in spending cuts through the reducing of government waste, his overall plan would significantly increase the federal deficit by about $5.8 trillion over the next 10 years, according to projections. That's Penn Wharton budget model. And Wharton, dude, went there. This is because the tax cuts would reduce government revenue, and the aggressive tariff policy is unlikely to compensate for that loss. The short-term boost in growth might benefit all income groups, but the long-term cost would be borne by future generations through higher debt and inflation risks. Where have I heard that before? Where have I heard, well, these tax cuts are just going to be put on our grandkids? Hello, I'm one of those grandkids. I'm 40. Yeah, I'm one of those grandkids that they were talking about in the 80s with all the other tax cuts.
Learned it from watching you.
Exactly. We can get into the Harris plan. I know we've got a break at the bottom. So what we'll do is when we get done with Rich McHugh, we will then continue on the Harris side of it. And again, I can turn around and promise you rainbows and ice cream and everything else, but it has to be legislated out and it has to fit the actual budget. Yes, of course, I would love to say, you know what? On Thursday and Fridays, I'm just going to stay home on the couch and watch Netflix. But if I'm losing revenue for my job, I won't be able to pay my bills. Yes, sitting on the couch and doing nothing and promising all kinds of awesome things that can't be put together might upset the budget.
Let's shut down the government.
That's what, shut down the same kind of concept. You're listening to Apolitical Talk Show right here on WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. We'll be right back after the bottom of the hour news.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Curdan. Brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service. Kane County has introduced a $755,000 food and farm resiliency grant program dedicated to adding local growers affected by the pandemic. Available to eligible food-growing ventures, the grants range from $5,000 to $50,000. An Elgin man is under arrest following an accident in Bartlett early Tuesday. 38-year-old Daniel Guzman of Elgin facing charges after fleeing a fiery crash that left 2 people injured. His Ford F-150 reportedly slamming into a Dodge Nitro on Route 25. Guzman fleeing the scene while witnesses worked to save the 2 people in the Dodge Nitro. Guzman was later arrested. In Elgin, a significant arrest was made following a violent domestic incident. Early on September 22nd, police were alerted to a situation potentially involving gunfire. Jerome R. Mosley, 36, apprehended at his residence on South Street. Evidence at the scene confirming discharge of a firearm. Kane County State's Attorney has charged Mosley with aggravated domestic battery. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Curdan.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, You know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service. In Elgin, a significant arrest was made following a violent domestic incident. Early on September 22nd, police were alerted to a situation potentially involving gunfire. Jerome R. Mosley, 36, apprehended at his residence on South Street. Evidence at the scene confirming discharge of a firearm. Kane County State's Attorney has charged Mosley with aggravated domestic battery. Kane County has introduced a $755,000 food and farm resiliency grant program dedicated to adding local growers affected by the pandemic. Available to eligible food growing ventures, the grants range from $5,000 to $50,000. An Elgin man is under arrest following an accident in Bartlett early Tuesday. 38-year-old Daniel Guzman of Elgin facing charges after fleeing a fiery crash that left 2 people injured. His Ford F-150 reportedly slamming into a Dodge Nitro on Route 25. Guzman fleeing the scene while witnesses worked to save the 2 people in the Dodge Nitro. Guzman was later arrested. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Welcome back to A Political Talk Show right here on WRMN. That's WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. My name is Dennis Green, and we are talking here in this next segment with Rich McHugh, national correspondent at News Nation, because he is covering the unfolding corruption investigation into New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Rich McHugh is a seasoned investigative journalist, currently a national correspondent for News Nation. With over 2 years of experience, McHugh has earned the reputation for in-depth reporting on high-profile stories, particularly those involving political corruption and misconduct. You can find him on Twitter or X at Rich McHugh, RichMchugh, or on LinkedIn with the same name. As scrutiny increases, figures within Adams' administration, including high-level officials like Police Commissioner Edward Caban and Deputy Mayor Sheena White, have also been targeted in these investigations. The allegations suggest that certain city officials may have been pressed to expedite building approvals, particularly for those for the Turkish consulate in New York. Amid these developments, Adams has maintained his innocence, vowing to fight any charges. Rich, thank you very much for being here with us today. What are the primary accusations driving this federal investigation into Mayor Adams?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. So you laid some of them out, but it's bribery, fraud, accepting foreign money for an election for campaigns, which is forbidden here in the United States. And so those are the bulk of it. But you also touched on the bit with the New York City fire. They basically, it was firefighters deemed this building not to code or not to code yet, and pressured them into just greenlighting this building to be ready and approved for Turkish officials, and that is one of them. But there was a number of things that were listed as the crimes against him, or crimes that he perpetrated.
But I guess it seems like a lot of this is just, again, it's the favors. It's the quid pro quo that's going on. I've read that he took trips under some things, even as far as maybe Qatar might even be involved with some of these.
Yeah, and it was all orchestrated through Turkish Airlines. Like, he took a trip to Ghana in West Africa, but stopped in Turkey first. And there was a lot of this detail in the press conference today with the prosecuting attorney, where he was focused on how many trips he took and how many upgrades he got and the cost of each. I'm not sure in the grand scheme of things which crime is worse, but it seems to me that the monies that he was receiving from Turkey and from foreign officials through like pilot people, I guess for lack of a better way to describe it, they were like shell people. They were fake. They were accepting money from officials over there, and then they were depositing it into Mayor Adams' campaign. That's the allegation, because you can't accept foreign money. So they were doing it in a different way that made it all kind of hidden in the background, but it was discovered. And it's a hard way to describe this, but Mayor Adams' team was then taking that money and raising more money off it through incentive programs in New York City. And they ultimately got, the allegation was that upwards of $10 million they were able to raise off this money. So that to me is the real crime here, and the stuff about the firefighters forcing them to green light this building for fear of losing their job.
Since the deputy mayor is involved with this as well and has been targeted for the investigations, if Mayor Adams steps down, will Mayor Sheena or Deputy Mayor Sheena White step in, or would that be kind of like a waterfall cascade where Mayor Adams will step down, the deputy mayor would then step down, and maybe it's just like a mass exodus? And then what is New York to do without a mayor?
I think the name that I've heard is I believe it's Jumaane. I could get the last name wrong, but I think it's Williams. And don't really know much about this candidate, but that's the name that I've heard being floated. So it's not his deputy mayor. I know that a number of the people in the inner circle, they've all been, the subject of raids themselves. And in the press conference today, the prosecuting attorney, Damian Williams, he said, look, this is just the beginning. There will be more arrests. And so you have to believe that is going to be coming from his team, everybody who was the subject of these raids. September 4th. These raids have actually gone back several years. And the corruption, the prosecuting attorney alleges, goes back all the way to 2014, before he was even a mayor of New York City. He was a politician in Brooklyn, perpetrating some of these schemes and ingratiating himself with Turkish officials. So this goes back quite a ways. And the raids began last summer, I believe it was 2023. His phone was seized by feds in 2023 a first time. They seized it again this morning in a pre-dawn raid. It sounds like, and if you read the 57-page indictment, there's just a lot there in terms of like the text messages, and they caught them deleting text messages during a meeting with the feds. Somebody on Adams' team excused themselves to go to the bathroom in the middle of this meeting and went to the bathroom and deleted the text messages in question. And so there's a lot of this extra stuff, which I'm sure is likely bulletproof. You know, it seems like it's all documented there.
We're speaking with Rich McHugh from News Nation, national correspondent. Find him at Twitter or X at Rich, R-I-C-H, McHugh, M-C-H-U-G-H. Now, you've been covering corruption and everything else for quite a while, sir. Do you see any parallels between this case and maybe something else that you've covered before?
Absolutely. I mean, they all tend to they all tend to appear the same way, especially when you get like an abuse of power situation. Now, these are allegations here against the mayor, but I was part of the reporting team who reported on Harvey Weinstein back in 2017. And once we really dug into that, you realize it's not just one person perpetrating this. There's a team of people helping this person perpetrate these things. And it may not seem like it at first, but when you dig a little bit, you realize that people are looking the other way and people are kind of helping the finances along. So there are a team of people behind, in that case, it was Weinstein. But in this case, I think that's why we've had these raids on his inner circle. And I would imagine we're going to see some arrests. So many of them in his inner circle have resigned already. But I would expect we're going to see some arrests, probably in the very near future.
Wow.
Rich, hi, Ben here. So what is the reception to the bringing of this indictment been like in New York by New York, the populace?
I think people are, New Yorkers are really disappointed. I lived in New York for the most of my adult life, and just overhearing people on the street say it's a black eye for the city. The city deserves better. We don't want to move on from this. And if you listen to Mayor Adams, he held a little brief press conference ahead of the prosecuting attorney's press conference. He held this at Gracie Mansion, and there was, he was almost shouted out of the press conference. There were people screaming at him, New Yorkers, like, we don't deserve this, and step down. So, they're mirroring the calls for resignation that you're seeing from politicians like AOC and others. I can't imagine that he will be able to stay as mayor of New York City. With this drumbeat will get louder, and it'll make it almost impossible for him to stay mayor of the city. Like that said, he's also expected to possibly turn himself in tomorrow.
Wow.
And so that opens a whole new, set of questions, whether he's going to remain in custody and where that goes. If need be, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, has the power to force him out and bring somebody else in. But that has not really been put on the table yet.
Have we started to see more of this intersection of like foreign influence in local campaigns? And how do you think this might shape the finance regulations for the U.S.?
Oh man, tough questions. I can't say for sure. I feel like we've seen a little bit more of this outside country interest in local elections. I believe it's happened in California in recent years, but not at this scale. I mean, this is the mayor's office in the biggest city in America, and a lot of power there. So I fully imagine that there's going to be more scrutiny on campaign finance laws going forward. I think it's probably a little too late for this national election, but certainly in local elections going forward, I think politicians are going to have to take another look at this. But in this instance, it seems like the feds caught them. So, they did not get away with it.
We're speaking with Rich McHugh, a seasoned investigative journalist, currently a national correspondent for News Nation. With over 2 decades of experience, McHugh has earned the reputation for in-depth reporting on high-profile stories, particularly those involving political corruption and misconduct. Find him on Twitter at Rich McHugh, RichMCHUGH. And now, of course, the most important question. We're outside of Chicago, so what kind of pizza are we going to have, Rich? Are we going to have a fight over which one is the best?
Being as that I'm from Chicago,
there we go.
I am a giant fan of Chicago-style pizza.
Hey,
my favorite is Lou Mel's in Chicago.
All right, good choice, good choice.
That is a great one there. Hey, Rich, where else can people find you, and what else are you working on right now?
Well, find me on News Nation. I'm usually on anytime during the week, working on longer investigative projects. I've just been still focused on the train derailment in East Palestine and the corruption there and the problems with the EPA and how the people in that town are just getting, for lack of a better word, hosed. Anything where there's just abuse of power on a large scale, that's what I gravitate towards.
That's amazing that you do that, sir. Yeah. We really appreciate that. And when you get that fleshed out, you be sure to keep us in the loop with that. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for having me on today.
Hey, thank you. Really appreciate it. Rich McHugh, we really appreciate you being here. You are listening to A Political Talk Show right here on WRMN 1410 AM. That was Rich McHugh, national correspondent for News Nation. When we come back from this break, we will dive into the differences between Trump and Harris's economic plan. You're listening to WRMN, A Political Talk Show.
The Police Department continues to participate in the Distracted Driving campaign. They wanted to share some tips from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website regarding safe driving. If you are expecting a text or need to send one, pull over and park your car in a safe location. Once you are safely off the road and parked, it's safe to text. Designate your passenger as your designated texter. Allow them to access your phone to respond to calls or messages. Do not engage in social media scrolling or messaging while driving. Are you struggling not to text and drive? Activate your phone's Do Not Disturb feature or put your cell phone in the trunk, the glove box, or the back seat of your vehicle until you arrive at your destination. Remember, the Elgin Police are conducting directed patrols to enforce distracted driving violations. Just drive and stay safe. A message from our friends at the Elgin Police Department and your friends here at WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Wake up, Fox River Valley. WRMN AM 1410 is shaking things up with a brand new weekday lineup that'll keep you informed, entertained, and engaged. I'm Marky B, WRMN Program Director and host of The First Shift, inviting you to start your day with The First Shift from 6 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Larry Jones, Jakes, myself, and the entire First Shift team bring you the latest local news, entertainment, and, my favorite, more to kick off your morning. Then it's out to lunch with Matt McNeil from 10 until 1 p.m. Tune in for your midday fix of news, interviews, community happenings, and of course, the legendary WRMN Tradio Show. In the afternoon, join us for Fox Valley Afternoons from 2 until 6 p.m. Tammy and friends will chat lifestyle from 2 to 4, while Sonar and his crew dive into politics and news from 4 until 6. Plus, get to know the movers and shakers of the Fox River Valley with exclusive interviews, too. Don't miss out on our new local lineup that's tailor-made for you. WRMN AM 1410, the talk of the town. Tune in and turn it up.
Oh no, I just hit that post and my car's got a dent.
Uh-oh, better get Maaco.
Oh yeah? Where are they?
Maaco is America's body shop. They're the world's largest provider of paint and collision services. They're located at 212 Western Avenue in Carpentersville, across from Spring Hill Mall. I've used them. Check out my car.
Wow, looking good.
Everything was so easy and affordable. Hummer and staff were super friendly and really knew their stuff.
I'm going to call them now.
Mention WRMN 1410 at the Carpentersville Maaco and receive 10% off today. What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-890-5957. 800-890-5957. That's 800-890-5957.
Attention all burger enthusiasts and game aficionados. Celebrate a century of excellence at Mott's Lounge, proudly serving the community for 100 years under 5 generations of passionate ownership. Sink your teeth into our hand-pressed fresh burgers bursting with flavor, crafted just the way you like them. And while you're here, enjoy our exclusive drink specials, perfect for toasting to our milestone anniversary. Plus, challenge your luck with our state-of-the-art gaming machines, adding an extra thrill to your visit. Join us at Mott's Lounge and be a part of history in the making. Here's to another century of great food, fun, and memories. Mott's Lounge, where every visit is a celebration. For more information, visit us online at mottslounge.com.
Welcome back to WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com, where you can listen live on both of those things. On the AM side of it over there, I was just teaching my students. They asked me, what's the difference between AM and FM? And I said, AM's cooler.
You asked the right cat right here.
Exactly. AM's way cooler.
Yeah.
Amplitude modulation all day. Woohoo. Look out. 1410 AM is the place to go on your dial here on the Fox River Valley. If you are cool like me and have one of those independent antennas, like the antenna's not like built into the car. I know a lot of people like went around and just like broke those off back in the day. But
Chromies.
Absolute jerks that did that.
Like grabbing chromies, yeah.
If you've got one of those ones that come up, you can actually take us all the way to the lake. Let's say you're going on a beach day and you want to listen to WRMN all the way there. I have driven the entire signal in my van with that independent antenna all the way from the station to Evanston Beach on Dempster.
It's a beautiful thing. I listened to the Eclipse broadcast from right outside Lighthouse Beach.
Oh man, that's some good stuff. So we do cover quite a few people. So if you are interested in advertising anything with us, check out Matt McNeil at WRMN1410.com or Dino, Deano, at WRMN1410.com. Both of those emails will go directly to our sales department, and they will help you find some more coverage, some more friends, some more clients. Get that message out. By all means, reach out to Mark if you would like to schedule an interview. Maybe you've got something that needs to be out in the world, needs to be pressed to the world. There's an event coming up and you want to make sure people know about it, then that's the place to go. Now, we only got a few minutes. I know Ben's already looking at me like, hey, buddy, TikTok. So I want to definitely get Harris's economic plan put in front of you guys as well. That way we can kind of wrap this up in a bow. So we did talk about Trump, how he wants to just extend the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act because, of course, this is legislation. It's not a magical executive wand that you can just go bippity boppity boo, tax cuts for me and you. We're going to go right into Harris's plan. Vice President Harris presents a more targeted, progressive economic agenda. Her focus is on providing relief to lower and middle income Americans, not the business aspect of it. Harris proposes expanding the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit. So if you are in that lower bracket, you will put it together. Also with new incentives for affordable housing. The new incentive that she's talking about for affordable housing is the $25,000 tax relief for buying a new house. And honestly, I don't agree with that policy either. As soon as you make it, it's the same thing as college. Why did education go up so much? Well, because the government started paying for it. Once you get subsidies and stuff, you're automatically inviting inflation. One of her key ideas is raising corporate taxes instead of lowering like Trump wants to do, to pay for these programs, along with incremental tax hikes on high income earners. This is all from Harvard Kennedy School. This contrasts sharply with Trump's corporate tax cuts, which primarily benefit businesses and high owners. But here's the thing, this is a smaller deficit increase, still adding a deficit, but this is $1.2 trillion over 10 years instead of 3.5, something like that. What did we look at? No, it's 5.8, my goodness. Either way, both are deciding to kick the can down the road and letting younger people foot the bill. You're listening to Apolitical Talk Show right here on WRMN. Next hour, we are opening the phone lines and running down the headlines. See you on the other side of the news.
He dealt with his pain by taking the Percocets his doctor prescribed for him. Bill took more and more and more of them to help with the pain, until one day the prescriptions weren't enough to get rid of Bill's pain. Then one day Bill found someone to help him get rid of the pain with illegal drugs he didn't need a prescription for. Fast forward to today. Bill lost his job and his family. The only thing he does have is his drug dealer. If you know Bill's story and you don't want to end up like Bill, call the Detox and Treatment Helpline right now to get away and get treatment.
800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. 800-694-1127. Call right now. Help is standing by. 800-694-1127.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN. The Cubs pounded the Phillies 10-4. Philadelphia clinched the NL East title. The day prior, Cody Bellinger drove in 4 runs for Chicago. Philadelphia is seeking to secure home field advantage in the National League playoffs. The Cubs have already been eliminated.
Benintendi with a base hit to left. Sosa will score.
The action courtesy White Sox Radio. 3-2 the win over the Angels. The modern-day record for most losses in a season. We'll have to wait at least another day. The Sox are 37-120. They tied the 1962 Mets for the most losses in one season since 1900. If they can win their last 5 straight, they'll avoid setting the record. The Bears host the Rams this Sunday afternoon. Chicago signed tight end Stephen Carlson from the practice squad. They also hosted several players for tryouts.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive.
I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical.
Handing out food and drinks from an ice cream truck is off limits for marijuana-based businesses in Ohio, according to state regulators. Ohio's Division of Cannabis Control has proposed fines totaling $212,000 against 5 businesses for violating the state's advertising rules for marijuana sellers, the Akron Beacon Journal reported. Most of the fines involve promotions this summer ahead of beginning of recreational marijuana sales in the state. The largest proposed fine, $150,000, was issued to Greenleaf Apothecaries, which operates dispensaries in Akron, Canton, Cleveland, Columbus, and Wicklife. Well, you have to say the advertiser was spot on. Greedy people of Ohio can show up for ice cream while they pay for recreational marijuana. It's a shame it becomes illegal to have hot food and drinks on your ice cream trucks. Guys, the hard part is over. It's legal. Stop being lazy and just Uber Eats your food order. Maybe the truck can sign up to be on Uber Eats. They can drive your food to you and cut a side deal with you for your recreationals. Like Tariq from the TV show Ghost. I'm Darian Sims, and this is how I see it.
Welcome back to a political talk show right here on WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. Listen live on either of those platforms. If you're on the WRMN1410.com side, you can choose to listen live through the app or the stream that's there. You can also go into TuneIn and you'll find WRMN on that one. Or if you're on that homepage, WRMN1410.com, you'll be able to see the YouTube side, and then you'll be able to see the radio. My goodness, it's crazy. But if your hands are at 10 and 2, I do not want you on the YouTubes, please. 10 and 2, please keep them over there. Yesterday, driving back from the school, there was a terrible medical emergency on 90, and they closed 3 of the 4 lanes coming back. So you know how it is on the expressway when they close 1 lane. They closed 3 out of 4, man. It was big time rough. Luckily, I got to it before it started to really start to back up. But it's zipper, man, right? Let one in, you go.
Merge.
Let one in, go.
Yeah.
You always see these jerks trying to fit 2 in, right? It's like, dude, all you're doing is beating me. Like, you ain't winning a race. You ain't doing whatever. Let me zipper instead of us just sitting here side by side looking at each other like we're going to, like why? Why would you not zipper? Like,
merge, damn it,
like
merge.
that's what I mean. Like what is wrong with you and your parents that you didn't learn to zipper?
Yeah.
Right?
Got to be, even though you're behind, you want to be the person to get in the left lane first.
All you're doing is beating the other, like you won car.
Or the classic person goes all the way up in the right lane from the other side.
And then waits. And it's like, see, I'd like to go, but you guys won't let me. Well, we shouldn't let you.
I got in front of all these
15
people.
of us,
right? Yeah.
Instead of just getting over when you should.
Yeah, that's when you get right on the guy's bumper in front of you. And you're like, this is a team effort here.
I do what the semis do. If I know that it is a blocked area, I will drive in both lanes. I will ride the middle and make sure that you don't get past me.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm that guy.
The gatekeeper or whatever you would.
Because I hate it, man. It's
keeper
like,
of the order.
Did you not learn turns in kindergarten? like who hurt you?
Zoolander.
Yeah.
Take the left.
Like who hurt you that you won't that you won't zipper?
Yeah. Explain.
One for you, one for me. Like are you that guy in the grocery store where there's 2 lines and they say next and you're just like, here I go? Like, do you do that? No, you get punched in the face.
Yeah, explain your traffic inadequacies to us.
Terrible.
At 847-931-1410, because headlines and phone lines. We've got another mayor story, man.
Hey,
mayor story.
Mayor story. So not just New York. There's other mayors with nefarious intentions.
Other things happening mayorally.
What you got, buddy?
This is from APnews.com. A Wisconsin mayor carts away an absentee ballot drop box and says he did nothing wrong.
What?
Yeah.
No, just that sentence.
Yeah.
Sentence tells me you did something wrong.
Pretty much. The mayor of a central Wisconsin city who ran for the office on the opposition of absentee ballot drop boxes said Wednesday he did nothing wrong when he put on work gloves, donned a hard hat, and used a dolly to cart away a drop box outside of City Hall. Wausau Mayor Doug Deeney posed for a picture Sunday to memorialize his removal of the city's lone drop box that had been put outside City Hall around the same time last week that absentee ballots were sent to voters. The city's election clerk, Katie Bernard, said that she has reported the issue to the Marathon County District Attorney as well as the State Elections Commission. He is quoted as saying, Mayor Deeney, this is no different than the maintenance guy moving it out there. Deeney said on Wednesday, quote, I'm a member of staff. There's nothing nefarious going on here. I'm hoping for a good result. The move, which sparked a protest in the city Tuesday night and anger among Dropbox advocates, is the latest example of swing state Wisconsin of the fight over whether communities will allow absentee drop boxes. More than 60 towns, villages, and cities in the 9 counties have opted out of using absentee ballot drop boxes for the presidential election in November. And according to a tally by the group All Voting is Local, drop boxes are being embraced in heavily Democratic cities, including Milwaukee. Madison, Wisconsin, has a total of 72 counties. So,
why can't you just play a fair game?
Yeah, what's the worst?
That's it. Is like, at least if you lose, you're like, hey, I tried, I did the fair game, I followed the rules, et cetera, et cetera. Like this whole like Air Bud rule garbage. Like, it doesn't say that a dog can't play basketball. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, in checkers, it doesn't say that I can't flip the table and restart the game.
Yeah, this screams like, oh, we passed a bill to send the ballots out, not to not move the ballot box.
Exactly. Like, come on, man. Like, this is how we get over-legislated. This is how it works. Instead of, like, just common sense and saying, look, this is the law, this is how it is. Like I keep coming back to. Have you ever watched Liar Liar?
Oh, love it. Yeah. Great movie.
And he's on the phone, or the secretary is on the phone and says, "Hey, so and such is on the phone calling from jail. He's wondering if you have any legal advice for him." And he says, "Stop breaking the law, a-hole." Like, it's just, yeah, man. Just don't break the law. Don't reinterpret the law. Don't do. You are the executive branch. You are not there to interpret laws. If you got a problem with it, then take it up with the judges. There are circuit judges. There are local judges. Like, it just...
Yeah, and especially since, like, as I said in the article, like, there are other counties who just decided that they didn't want the ballot boxes. And it's something he ran on, and, like, so you couldn't insure it, so that's it. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, you lost. Walk away, man. Like, it's like if an entire Little League team at the end of the game, instead of doing that crazy high five thing down there, like, went in there and started spraying champagne on everybody. Like, oh, we didn't lose. This is the greatest. Woo, amazing. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, stop trying to change the rules. Like,
embarrassing.
Like Nebraska, right? They tried as hard as they could to get Nebraska to be a winner-take-all. They tried. One vote. All because of one electoral vote. Like, that's how close this thing is that one vote from Nebraska, they're trying to tip it. Even to the point that Harris is campaigning in Nebraska right now because of it. For that one vote. Yeah. That one vote in the 2nd Congressional District. Like, that's how close this thing is, that they will go to great lengths to make sure that the rules have been changed. 41 days.
So much mandering.
The election.
Yeah, so much mandering.
Like, it's just, why? Why? Like, I understand why you would cheat. I absolutely understand why you would cheat.
That makes sense.
But if you are an integral person and want to be a politician that is seen as an integral person, why would you cheat? Like that's the thing. Election interference isn't the Haitian migrants turning around and filing defamation and ACLU and all of these other different things. That's not election interference. That is legislation and their rights. Turning around and moving a ballot drop box is election interference.
Yeah, quite physically.
Yes, you moved ballots. Like, why are people not just jumping on that? They Ruby Friedman, she moved the things and did the stuff. You have a mayor doing that right now. You've got people that won't even put Harris on the absentee. Come on, man. It's insane, the type of stuff that people are trying to get away with these Air Bud rules. Like, just play a fair game. We know it's tight. We absolutely know that you need every single edge that you need. Train harder. Have better policies. I don't know. Pick a better candidate. That's what the Democrats did. Come on, man.
Ranked choice voting.
Yes, let's do that. I'm all about that. But with only two options, you're not really going to get much.
Yeah, that really is what it comes down to.
You only got two options, so yes, you do have Stein, you do have Cornel West.
Do you though? Do you?
In this system, you do not.
Yeah.
In ranked choice, you would.
Yeah.
That's really where it would be, because there'd be a lot of people that would turn around and say, okay, I'm going to pick my number one candidate of the two-party system, and then I'm going to turn around and either put Kennedy or put West or put Stein or put Mickey Mouse, or heck, since I have been able to be president, since I hit all of the things,
35, yeah.
I make sure that maybe my name's written in there somewhere.
Why not? Yeah.
Like if I can't make the decision of who I need to vote for, I'll write my name in.
Got to vote for president. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I got at least one. See, ranked choice, that would be cool. It was like I'm the second in the ranked choice.
Yeah,
that'd be neat. Don't vote for me. I'd make a terrible president. Yeah. I'll advise, I guess, but I'd make a terrible president.
Are you running?
No. I used to ask that back in 16. Was I'd do like a fake prank call and be like, "Hey, is your refrigerator running? Because I might vote for it." Like, because in 16 I couldn't pick a candidate.
It was
rough. I just could not. So I voted everything else except for the presidential side.
Yeah, I remember those times, man.
And maybe I was the reason that Hillary didn't win. But you know what? I live in Illinois.
Yeah,
so
that was my excuse. But I think to me, it seems like sentiments are a lot different. A lot of people are getting out and actually voting because of that.
It's true.
How they felt during that election.
And this is going to be a race between the ballot box and the couch, man. This is it's what it is. It's either going to be a red wave or a blue wave, or just two waves crashing into each other, and we'll see which one comes out on top. I hope, please, God, give us a landslide. I would much rather it be a landslide than necessarily my candidate winning or what have you, because then it's more defined and we don't have to have these back and forth. Well, we had the lawsuit here, and are we going to recount that and do whatever? I don't want a whole hanging Chad issue. I don't want them to just wave their wand and say, you know what, this state over here, we're just not going to count the ballots. We're just going to go. And I definitely don't want Congress picking our presidency. Please, because right now the blue hats are in the Senate and the red hats are in the House, and it is just going to be a debacle if it's even somewhat close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The popular vote's not going to be close. It's not. The popular vote for the last, 20 years hasn't really been close. The electoral vote in swing states, yes, has been. 50,000 people, 100,000 people decide who the president is. It's crazy. It's a crazy system.
Sure is. We should go back to voice voting.
Voice where we raise our hand and just go.
Yeah.
Do we say like I and who's louder? We have to like do the cheer meter.
Yeah, powdered wigs, all that, everything.
We like up, say it more. Like we got a sound decibel meter.
Yeah,
that we've
like
gotta...
to the point where like theater geeks are like the main voters, and it's like a big cosplay thing.
Clap louder, clap louder.
Exactly. Yes.
I need to
hear ye.
That would be fun. That would be fun to cosplay some Federalists.
Think about it.
That are coming over there. Do you got a story? You need me to throw one out because I got one in the deck.
See here. I believe I have one other we could
go ahead
run to real quick. Oh yeah, here's one just highlighting excuse me, what was that? It's like I just
grammar
sneezed,
check, take two.
I just Porky Pigged on the air there.
I did.
ABCnews.go.com. Americans can again order 4 free at-home COVID tests from the federal government. This is the third year in a row Americans can order free at-home COVID tests. So everybody just be aware of that. That's a thing that's back around. Americans can once again order free at-home COVID-19 tests from the federal government starting Thursday ahead of the upcoming respiratory virus season. It's the third year in a row that the Biden-Harris administration has allowed Americans to order over-the-counter tests at no charge. So just go to covid.gov/tests. And 4 tests will be shipped for free by USPS starting September 30th. So
even on in the mail, you can get them again.
Yes, yeah, I've done that before. And yeah, they just come in the mail, a little, just like an Amazon package, but USPS. And they're like $20 a piece now if you want to buy them at go buy them anywhere else. So
I go to
freebies.
like the drugstore and get them, and then like I put them on the insurance or whatever else. Like
Nice,
you
you
can
can
take
do that.
them and like go to Walgreens or CVS and like get like 3 of them or 4 packets, and then like go up to the counter or go up to the pharmacy and be like, hey, I'd like the government to pay for these, please.
Yeah. If you're uninsured though.
Yeah, now that if you're uninsured, you can still get them now too. You just order them online as it goes. Speaking of these crazy Air Bud rules, North Carolina removes 747,000 from voter rolls, citing ineligibility. They've done this over the last 20 months, so don't think that they, again, just did a giant pen and said, you know what, all of these people are done. They've done it, and they just released that number on the press release today. The State Board of Elections in the release said the majority of those stripped from the rolls were deemed ineligible to be registered because they had moved within the state and did not register their new address, or because they did not participate in the past 2 federal elections, prompting an inactive status. So for the past 2 elections, if you didn't do it, or if you didn't put in your new address for things, but you're still like when you go in and get your ID, your new ID for having the new address, that's a great time for you to, turn around and be like, hey, put me on that voter list too. Like it's easy. It's literally as easy as that. Hey, you changed my address, change my voter registration too. You just have to tell them to do it. At least here in Illinois, I assume that most places you go to the Secretary of State or the DMV to do both of those things anyway. But what happened is they had moved within the state and their license did not match with their voter registration address. So they just removed them. So please, 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 everybody who's listening now and everybody who's going to listen to this on the podcast, please, please, please check your voter registration. Check it. Check it twice. This is a Santa Claus moment that you need to make sure that you are looking at that list and making sure that you are on it. There are lots and lots of states that are doing this purge, where they just all of a sudden are like, you know what? We're just going to, everything that doesn't fit, we're just going to kick them out, and then hopefully they're able to re-register before the actual election.
Yeah,
I
that's the
don't
real
think any
question.
of these people are being notified is the other issue.
Yeah, because they know just a certain percentage of those people are going to go, oh, I have to re-register, and that's going to take how much time? Like, I was on my way to McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah, and I think if you have an ID, it should be an automatic registration. I went, I changed my ID, automatically registered for whatever. They
Simple
ask
enough.
you if you want to be a donor. Don't they want to ask you if you want to be a voter, registered voter?
Simple enough.
Yeah, I mean, right on my ID, there's all kinds of different letters and symbols and everything else. Put a V next to it. Done.
Do it.
Registered to vote.
Votes.
At this address, at this thing. Bingo, bango, get it done. You want to read more about what's going on? I recommend The Hill. This is absolutely a blind spot. For some reason, it is more reported on the red side of things for things like the Daily Examiner, the Daily Caller, Gateway Pundit. Some of I don't think the Epoch Times has jumped into it yet, but the only people who are a centered high factuality that is reporting on this is, of course, one of our favorite places, The Hill. That is owned by Nexstar Media Group, by the way, in case you are looking at the entire side. Reason why we like The Hill, connected to the Nexstar Media Group, which includes CBS and News Nation. That's there. And if you're on the YouTube side of it, The Rising, which is a fantastic YouTube channel that puts out news daily. I know they've got News Nation on one side, but The Hill has their own little broadcasting side. Check it out. It's a really cool watch. I know I get too crazy with it of like, oh, you watch. How much news did you watch today, buddy? I watch news like I drink coffee hourly.
Yeah, there you go. Sip by sip, too. Story by headline by headline.
What you got over there, friend?
We got a lot of the same kind of stories coming out today, with the main focus on the Eric Adams thing.
Yes.
That's really a big
and just like
thing
Rich had put together in our last hour, and you can check that out on the podcast that will be posted here soon. Go ahead, and if you missed it, or you can find it on the YouTube side and rewatch it from there and watch Ben and I talk to a person that you can't see. Trust me, real person, Rich McHugh, 20 years of working for News Nation, NBC, and honestly broke a lot of the Weinstein side of things in the whole upswing of the Me Too movement.
Mm-hmm.
Great correspondent. Check him out at News Nation, Rich McHill, or find him on X at Rich McHill, RICHMCH McHugh. Rich McHugh, RICHMCHUGH. That's sitting there for it.
Yeah, there's also been some focus on Twitter today. I don't know if you want to maybe start a little doxing debate in our last half hour here. See what you think about this. So Ken Klippenstein has been banned from Twitter for publishing private information in contradiction to its rules.
You can't do that.
What he did was
break the rules.
Yeah, and it's a very gray area now that Twitter has gone over to X. So you see a lot of biased banning, where some people do the same things. For instance, Twitter's or Elon's tracker on his flights gets banned regularly.
Well, they also put Elon didn't like that President Biden's same tweet had gone out and had been more popular, even though he has less followers than Elon.
Yeah, so they wrote code.
Yeah, so they wrote code that Elon can no longer be banned. So also, there's another report, and I'll find it, that somebody didn't follow anybody, didn't set up any interests or anything like that, and started a Twitter account, and everything was right-wing. Everything. Did not get any single other thing that's in there. So
yeah, that's how it's gone. They've lost 85% of their advertisers and fired most of the people who worked there. But what happened with Klippenstein is he released J.D. Vance dossier that mainstream media has been clutching onto.
Oh, from the Iran leak?
Yes.
That happened? Oh, my goodness.
Allegedly, yes.
You can't do those things. But what you can do is come back for more apolitical talk show right after the bottom of the hour news. Stay tuned. WRMN 1410.
Elgin, a significant arrest was made following a violent domestic incident. Early on September 22nd, police were alerted to a situation potentially involving gunfire. Jerome R. Mosley, 36, apprehended at his residence on South Street. Evidence at the scene confirming discharge of a firearm. Kane County State's Attorney has charged Mosley with aggravated domestic battery. Kane County has introduced a $755,000 food and farm resiliency grant program dedicated to adding local growers affected by the pandemic. Available to eligible food growing ventures, the grants range from $5,000 to $50,000. An Elgin man is under arrest following an accident in Bartlett early Tuesday. 38-year-old Daniel Guzman of Elgin facing charges after fleeing a fiery crash that left two people injured. His Ford F-150 reportedly slamming into a Dodge Nitro on Route 25. Guzman fleeing the scene while witnesses worked to save the two people in the Dodge Nitro. Guzman was later arrested. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Curdan.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, You know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by the U.S. Postal Service. Kane County has introduced a $755,000 food and farm resiliency grant program dedicated to adding local growers affected by the pandemic. Available to eligible food growing ventures, the grants range from $5,000 to $50,000. An Elgin man is under arrest following an accident in Bartlett early Tuesday. 38-year-old Daniel Guzman of Elgin facing charges after fleeing a fiery crash that left 2 people injured. His Ford F-150 reportedly slamming into a Dodge Nitro on Route 25. Guzman fleeing the scene while witnesses worked to save the 2 people in the Dodge Nitro. Guzman was later arrested. In Elgin, a significant arrest was made following a violent domestic incident. Early on September 22nd, police were alerted to a situation potentially involving gunfire. Jerome R. Mosley, 36, apprehended at his residence on South Street. Evidence at the scene confirming discharge of a firearm. Kane County State's attorney has charged Mosley with aggravated domestic battery. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Welcome back to WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. Listen live anytime by talking to your smart speaker. Hey, smart speaker, play WRMN. Or go ahead and download the WRMN app. There's also a TuneIn app if you're a radio head like me and you like to listen to multiple stations at multiple times. 6 or 7 of them going off all at once, right? It's a trick that us sonar technicians are able to do of listening to 6 different conversations at the same time. Those of you that are moms probably are able to do that too. So this is a political talk show out here on WRMN. We are live from 4 to 6. And in this last hour, what we do at 5 to 6 is we do phone lines and headlines, and Ben and I have been running down some of the things that have been going on, including the doxing of J.D. Vance that's moving on through there. I guess X had suspended the journalist over the publication of the J.D. Vance dossier, and you said
quite quickly.
Yeah, almost like boom. Hey, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? WikiLeaks? Who do you think you are, Julian Assange? Are you able to just leak stuff that foreign adversaries have gotten their hands on it? Oh, big time guy gonna escape to Europe. So
that old trope, yeah. Yep. And yeah, you've seen it time and time again, especially like we talk about with the right wing focus on Twitter. You see all the top comments are usually just trash. Mm-hmm. People who have paid for them to be seen first. So.
Well, and we saw it. The most recent one that we saw was where X had essentially shut down NPR's article about Trump at Arlington. And then if you go even further back, before Elon had purchased it, we go and talk about Hunter Biden. And even then, Hunter Biden's story was only suppressed for 24 hours, not like the 7-8 weeks that everybody seems to think that it was. It was suppressed in 24 hours because it violated X's policies on that of nudity and what do they call it? They call it something about something pornography, the like revenge pornography or something like that. So Giuliani had no business posting naked pictures of the not at the time president's son. So that was a violation of it as well, and it was shut down immediately. So I hope that journalist Ken Klippenstein is able to get that back.
Yeah, we'll see. He used to work for The Intercept and recently went to basically be independent completely. And here in a statement that Clip News, which is still an active account that you could kind of go to find his content at, goes on to say, we did not delete what others are calling private information. The document itself describes its method acquiring the information, saying, quote, we undertook an examination of all readily available and relevant electronic and online records, several hundred Nexus and news articles, dozens of active and archived web pages, and several dozen public records from Nexus and resources of various federal, state, and municipal government offices. In other words, everything was out there, either readily or for purchase.
Yeah. So
what do you make of that defense?
Well, I mean, we've said it before that if you are a public figure at a certain point, then your information is already out there for public as well. So your house, your address, everything else, that's how Paul Pelosi was attacked, right? That's how people started showing up at the Supreme Court, people's houses for things. So the public figure, it's already out there for it. So I do see why they posted, quote, unredacted private personal information, quote, but it's definitely something that you don't want to keep doing and don't want to set a precedent of. Now, just because the information is public does not mean that it needs to be broadcast, which are two different things. It being available for Freedom of Information Act or available because of registration to make sure that that political person is actually living in that place. But I don't think it should necessarily be broadcast to the entire world. I will show the difference. So what you're getting in this story is there's about 13 different sources that are writing about this right now. And this right here will tell you why we do bias checks of things.
Love it. Yeah.
Here's the Hill. The Hill, centered, high factuality, ready to go. This is the headline. Journalists booted from X after publishing hacked Vance document. Right? Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. This is the Gateway Pundit, low factuality, and far right treason. Far right, quote, journalists published alleged Iranian hack dossier with several parts of J.D. Vance personal information, potentially endangering Vance's life.
Yeah, very extreme.
That's the one that's there. Let's see if I can find the one on the lefticals. The New Republic is leans left, and this is left, and I believe I think they are, if I had to guess, they are low factuality or mixed factuality. That's there. New Republic, yes, mixed factuality and left. It's not far left, but it is definitely left. Elon Musk X suspends journalists who reported leaked J.D. Vance docs. So that's the left side of it. So do you see why it's important to have a balanced media diet? because one that starts out just in all caps, treason, is incredibly incendiary. Like it's right off the bat of like, is it treason or is it somebody who thinks that this is important news? Because for the longest time, we knew about these documents, Ben. We knew that these documents were leaked to the press, or at least given to the press. They were definitely hacked to get these documents. So now why would you release them after weeks and weeks of other people refusing to do it?
Yeah, the one of the tweets here goes on to kind of explain the point of view, going on to say from at clipnews.org on X, still pumping out tweets. In publishing so-called quote-unquote private information, there was no act of quote-unquote doxing. There was no malicious intent, and the principle stands that by deleting anything would just affirm the government's claim that perfectly unclassified information should be routinely withheld from the public. The information is not quote-unquote private at all, since it can be readily purchased by LexisNexis. One could make the same argument that Vance's investments is equally private, but of course they're not, because he's an elected official and a public figure.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But that's back to the concept of it is public information, but does it need to be broadcast? What's that story that you just gave me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Category 4 hurricane coming in as well on a lot of that stuff from there. Helene, and that's what they said. They said it was unsurvivable as Dean comes in. 20-foot swells are a really big thing to not play around with. When I was out in the high seas of the North Atlantic Ocean, hey, let me tell you a little bit about the high seas of the North Atlantic.
Get that pipe in your mouth, man. There you go. Our captain. Yeah, we need to
there it is.
You're right.
Let me tell you a sea story or two, young laddie. Yes, 25-foot swells, pretty much the highest I've seen and ridden, and you wouldn't be able to survive those, especially because those are white capping as well. They're not just swells, they are actually cressing, and that is way more violent than just like being at a really, really big wave pool, where there aren't any like real white caps. It's just kind of, okay, now we just went up 25 feet. Okay, we went back down. And 25-foot swells means 25 feet above sea level. And you all know that if you have a large crest in a wave, you also have an equally large trough in a wave. So you could have a 40 or 50-foot difference between top and bottom with a lot of these things. And they say flat out it is unsurvivable. You cannot do it. You cannot survive 20 feet or even 15 feet of storm surge. Berardelli, you're Italian. How do you say that last name? Berardelli said, if you're near the water and you know you're going to flood, especially if you're in a mobile home too, you've got to go. You cannot take your chances.
Where's the hurricane hitting?
So it's coming right up Florida. Like if it's coming out of the coast, out of the Gulf Coast side, but it is pushing, like, you know where the like back of the knee is of it, where like what is that, Tampa? That's in that side. Nature Coast and Big Bend, says executive producer Dean DeLaley. And it's big. It is absolutely big. So get out of Dodge. DeSantis has been talking all week about state, like I think there's 3 states in a state of emergency right now because of it. And I was like, okay, they start doing state of emergencies every time it starts raining or whatever. So that swell will get pushed over as it moves. So what's happening is the storm is pushing the water towards everything, and they're starting to get those swells and those rising sea levels now. The real question, Benjamin, is do they rebuild? My goodness, how often do we got to have this before it's like, hey, you are costing us way, way, way more money just to live there. Turn around, make it a national park, and be done with it. And say, sorry you lost your home. Maybe you shouldn't live there. Let's give you some money and do, what is it, eminent domain, and just the entire United States just purchases that land, turns it into a national park, and then gives you a home closer to the land. Now, I get it. I get that you want to live on the coast, but this is what happens. So why should the rest of us keep rebuilding your house?
Yeah, Barbara Streisand's got some beachfront property she wants to sell you.
That's what I mean, is like, why are you putting, like, I get that FEMA, I get that there's the state of emergency in Florida or in Georgia or in that side, but my goodness, I think if in 10 years your house is destroyed twice, that's it. It stays destroyed. You're the one who you decided to go there. Move somewhere else. We should not have to, like, in this housing crisis that we've got already, now we're going to sit here and keep continuously rebuilding the same damn houses. Yeah, buying a house, the dean says it's buying a house next to a school and complaining that you got the kids. Hey man, you decided to live there. So either buy insurance, which all of the insurance companies have been leaving.
Yeah, there's no one who will actually insure.
That tells you shouldn't build there.
Yeah, there was a big focus on this the last large hurricane that they had. I remember a lot of those very coastal communities. You know, the ones that like have the sea inlets running throughout them, and they're kind of aquatic communities, or I don't know what the actual name of them is, but they were pretty much ruined in the last one, and they were asking the same question: are they going to rebuild? And same argument. We have Dutchman on the phone.
Hey, Dutchman, especially this guy, because he knows national reserves if anybody does. Hey, thanks for jumping in, Dutchman. Appreciate you being on.
This Dutchman?
It's not the Dutchman.
Oh no!
Dennis.
That's
Dennis.
Cleveland Dennis there.
I saw a familiar number.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah,
How you been?
Yeah, I'm one of your favorite listeners, as you guys may or may not know. But today, I'm with one of my son's friends. They finished a job early, and I'm showing him what you guys have for a show.
Cool.
Yeah. What's the rating out of 5?
I need some empathy. Can I get some empathy?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
All day.
Port of Mobile, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Just had a $5.5 million move come through there. We took care of it. Now we got a $1 million return shipment from Holland, and it's going to arrive on the vessel tomorrow morning or tomorrow night. Hopefully it gets off in time before the longshoreman strike occurs.
Oh, geez. So you're getting hit with not only the storm, but you're also getting hit with the labor unions too.
Yeah, it's called monetarily hit because if it doesn't go right, we don't get paid.
No, that's a double whammy with what you've got going on there of the international shipping. How long is the hurricane been affecting shipments in that area?
Well, you know, they had the wimpy thunderstorms. That was a hurricane a couple of weeks ago. But my customer, who's receiving the goods, he's in the middle of Mississippi, okay? And he's right there. When I spoke to him today, he says he's not too worried about it. But when you listen to the national news, and you guys saw it yourself, that hurricane is going to hit right at the Port of Mobile. It's going to hit Mississippi and so forth, all right?
It's part of the 3 that are in a national emergency right now, right?
Well, that's what they pump it up. And even he said, he goes, well, everything is kind of overblown, but you know what? This one seems more serious, in my opinion.
It is.
And I got the feel of, I guess, fear, because I just want that to come in, get unloaded off the vessel, and be available at the terminal come Monday before the longshoremen strike.
Because then you'll never get it off.
Well,
or you'll get it off after the strike's over.
Yeah, and it'll be sitting there, and then they'll have different issues, not force majeure, the French term for maritime law issues and all that. But that's where I'm at. And, you know, when you have high-value shipments like this, it's kind of sets a precedent. It's not easy. There's a lot of details which I won't bore you guys with, but we're enjoying the show today. And, again, I got Marty from the west side of Belgium here.
Thanks for listening, Marty.
Younger fella, about 30, just enjoying the show as we explain it, and that's all I got today, guys.
Thanks for listening, both you, Dennis, and Marty. Every new listener, one at a time, right? That's the best way to get it.
Well, we're trying, but I'm enjoying it. The only other thing I want to say, I don't know if I mentioned this the other day about the voting. Anytime I went to vote, it was a process, and if you didn't have a voting card ID, I don't think you were voting.
Yeah.
It all goes back to what the national media says sometimes about all the refugees or immigrants or illegals. I don't see how they can vote.
They can't. And it's a bad faith argument, Dennis. And there's so many of those out there. If I don't understand the game of basketball, then I think that I can just take the ball, put it under my arm, and walk it to the basket. And I would claim that this is part of the game. But if you don't know the rules, then they're easily bent and easily broken.
Basketball comment, Derrick Rose is finally retiring.
Yes.
Anyhow.
Hey, shout out. Thanks for mentioning
that's all I got, guys, but enjoying the show.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for listening. Cleveland Dennis, outstanding individual, number one listener so far.
With the D-Rose shout out, the number one MVP, or the youngest MVP in league history, 22 years old, Chicago legend, NBA legend.
So when is he actually retiring?
I guess it's today.
Today?
Yeah, it was announced today. So.
Oh my gosh! So it was a retirement was announced. Did he hurt his knee when he announced it?
It's probably still just a little bit hurting.
It's a little sore. Sore. Yeah.
Yeah.
For most of his career.
Yeah. No. One of the most storied instances of real heartbreaking injuries to happen to an athlete ever.
It's the same thing. Well, look, I was a Cincinnati Reds fan for a while, and we had the center field mascot Ken Griffey Jr. that would just look at the first base and pull a hammy. Yeah. And that was it. It was center field mascot. Yeah, you put butts in seats, but you also didn't win nothing. So, category 4, Helene, Helene, I think is how everybody's pronouncing it, has jumped to a category 4, 130 miles per hour, and can severely damage homes, snap trees, down power lines. Strong winds have already cut power to over 250,000 homes and businesses in Florida. And that's one state, one group of people already knocked out, and the thing hasn't even hit landfall. Supposed to hit landfall tonight at 11, which is even scarier, that it's going to hit in like the middle of the night while all these people are trying to get out. This is not a time to do one of those Florida hurricane parties where everybody goes to the liquor store, battens down the hatches, batten down the hatches. See, I get all kinds of great sailor jargon that's going through.
Thank you.
I did get to sail the Gulf. I've been to Savannah a few times, and yeah, it's Gulfs are usually a lot smoother than the just open blue water that's out there. But get a hurricane coming up that thing, and it is atrocious to go out there and sell. I mean, just a few hours ago, Helene was a category 3, and it has now been updated to a category 4. So it's supposed to strengthen tonight. I'm trying to get some News Nation people for tomorrow to talk about the what the damage has been.
I'd like
so. Once we get that, there are. Let me see. Cynthia over at News Nation sent me a whole bunch of people that are out there. Hey, we want to just give a shout out to the News Nation people that are in harm's way, that are out there reporting right now. Brooke Schaefer is actually reporting from the storm zone right now. Please be careful, Brooke. We don't want you to get hurt. Xavier Walton is on ground in Tallahassee. Ryan Bass is reporting from Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Mills Hayes is on the ground in Panama City Beach. So those 4 News Nation correspondents, please, please, please be careful. We know that you have to report the news, and sometimes you have to be there to report it. And we thank you for being there, but we also want you to be safe.
Yes.
There's some really bad areas out in the world today for journalists, and this is definitely one of them. Hey, Free Speech Fridays, mañana, buddy. We've got Free Speech Friday coming up where we are going to open up the phone lines. We are going to spend the entire day just running through all kinds of different news articles,
and
different things that have been going on, maybe a little bit of football. I also have a very special guest joining me as well over Zoom, a new player to the WRMN news crew, and we'll make sure that we introduce them to you. Stay tuned for more WRMN coming up after the top of the hour for what we like to put together for our political side to everything. Kicks off again with a political talk show right at 4. And that's what you just listened to. Find us out there. Find the podcast, A Political Talk Show, on WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com. Listen live 24 hours. Tell your smart speaker to listen to us. It will enjoy it. I know I do. Hey, after the top of the news, Brian Kilmeade comes up. Go ahead and listen to him there. My name is Dennis Green. That's Ben Demonium Boquest, and we're out.
Free KK.
Woo!
Dental wants everyone to be informed.